Hey everyone, happy Valentine's Day. Got my heart earrings on and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. Well, we're going to be making, well, not we're, I'm just watching. The guests will be making a very special dish for Valentine's Day. It's called Lady and the Tramp. Remember that movie with the long strand of spaghetti? Hopefully they'll reenact that scene. Lady and the Tramp, raw, vegan, marinated mushroom marinara, because today is the second Tuesday of the month, which means it's time for Feeling Great with Lissa and Nate. Please welcome them back to the show. Who knew that this was going to be right after the bundle, which it is what it is. And you guys are still standing. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. We love doing the show with you. And yeah, when we were like after the bundle, we're like, well, at least we'll have Monday that we can chill for like a little bit of it. And then we're right back at it, sharing with you guys, sharing with you. And
yeah, well, the bundle was epic. And it's so funny how many people are still contacting us. I missed it. I don't know how, with 100 people promoting over 9 days, how anybody could have missed it, unless they just don't check their email. So we're sorry, but come back in 2024 and we'll have another one.
Bigger and better too. So yeah, new stuff. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to share dates soon too. So
absolutely. This way people can plan, because they say, well, I didn't know, and I didn't, plan. Well, we're going to tell you the date way in advance so you can mark it on your calendar. That'll be great. So this is a very romantic dish you're making.
Yeah, it's a fun one. It's really simple, but we really like to make this for, like date night style, because it is like, Lady and the Tramp, fun with the noodle. Yeah, we use cucumber instead.
I think we've done that maybe a couple of times.
Yeah.
Enacted it with the noodle.
Yeah, just for fun, because why not? So
actually, it would be a noodle, right? A cucumber noodle.
Yeah, cucumber.
Yeah, because if zoodles are called zoodles, or cucumber noodles called koodles?
Koodles.
Yeah, koodles.
Koodles. Well, kudos to you for koodles. Yeah, they're so good. And you can buy them in the store already made, but they're not that hard to make with a simple tool that costs anywhere from $10 to $20.
Exactly. Yeah. And we have multiple different kinds of spiralizers. Today, we're going to be using the Veggie Bullet. It's an electric one. I don't know if they still sell them. You could probably find them on maybe eBay or something, but this is the one we're going to be using to show how you can do it with an electric if you want to invest in that one. But yeah, for $10 or $20, you can get like the hand spiralizer.
Yeah, and actually they even have a little travel size that is even maybe around $5.
Yeah.
And you would just basically hold your cucumber and just kind of corks through it. It's kind of like a big pencil sharpener is what it looks like.
Exactly.
I don't really prefer that one.
Well, it's good for traveling.
But it works. I brought it with me up in my suitcase, definitely.
Oh, in the suitcase. Can you get it through TSA, or will the agent go, what the heck is this?
No, it was in my check-on bag.
Yeah, I've been able to take a lot of interesting things in my check-on bag.
Yeah.
Like I brought my Vitamix.
Yeah,
nice
Vitamix. Of course it is, we have to put a note in there if they do open it, like, we're chefs, that's why the knives.
That's funny. Yeah. The TSA cracks me up because I haven't traveled now that I think of it since November of 2019. My first foray into the public will be the Seattle Veg Fest in May and the Plantrition Conference in September. But I always bring food with me, in a cooler, and they always say, oh, you brought your food for the whole week. And I'm like, no, this is my food for today. And it's so funny, like that people just, they just eat differently, I guess. And especially if they're not understanding low fat and calorie density. But I get that all the time. They think it's the week's worth of food, and it's really just for 2 meals.
Yeah,
exactly. I know when we went over to our friend's house last night to kind of celebrate the end of the bundle and to decompress, play some games and laugh. And we brought like the big silver chef bowl of salad, and I just had it on my lap in the truck. We're like driving down to her place. That's how we roll, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What games do you play? Because I didn't know that. Maybe you could play with us. We play Jackbox. What do you play?
Cool.
We played Catan.
Yeah.
Settlers of Catan, and we played Uno last night, and we played Yahtzee. And then next time we try to do like a monthly, friend hangout with them. And next time we're going to be playing Monopoly with cards, which is a fun one too.
Wow. See, we have so much in common. Why can't we live in the same city?
We will definitely make.
You know, we
points
have to
right
get,
down.
we'll have to see how far it is to your place too. I would imagine maybe 6 hours. I don't know, 6 or 7.
Hold on, I'll put it out. We keep talking. I'll put it in ways. I'm just gonna put like, I mean, I'm just gonna put like some hotel in Vegas random, because right, you know. I'll just
yeah.
put in
Fremont Street.
MGM Vegas. Okay, you're 389 miles away, and by
Okay.
car, I mean, but the plane would take such a small amount of time. Let's calculate 389 miles. So what is that in hours?
Oh, well, you're not doing maps.
6 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it says about 8 hours. No, I just fly. I'll get you a ticket. I'll get you a ticket.
But you know what? If we drive, we bring all our stuff and all.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. Yep.
You can bring the spiralizer and spiralize on the tailgate of the truck.
I know we go all out when we travel. So plus the drive is really nice because we get to listen to stuff from the bundle. Like we can download stuff ready to listen to, and we can just listen to it in the truck while we're driving.
That's another reason we like to take
So did you actually drive to LA when you went?
Yeah, it's only about 3.5 hours away.
Oh yeah, so I guess I'm farther then, because I forget I'm in Northern California now. That's right.
Yeah, so 7, 8 hours, I guess then, yeah.
Yeah, we drive to LA because we buy like all the cheap produce. Like we got cases of jicama for $5 each, and we got like a case of bananas for $15 and
Speaking of jicama, what we did with that jicama is we peeled it up and seasoned it, like cut it like fries. And look at here. These are some jicama fries. They're freeze dried.
They're freeze dried. So they're like, look at this.
Wow. So you just eat them, you don't rehydrate them or anything?
No way.
You just eat them just like this.
Eat them like chips.
Wow.
Seasoning on there. Oh, they're so delicious.
And we have zucchini chips that we did.
But zucchini is so high in water, it must leave very little food.
Well,
It's actually not bad.
Look at how it looks. I mean, it looks pretty much the same. It was just seasoned up with some dill seasoning and some lemon. Oh my gosh.
They're like, you know, like cheese puffs. That's kind of the texture that they have, like a cheese puff.
Yeah.
But it's just zucchini.
What was cool, and of course, we'll cover this in the next month's show. We'll go in detail with the freeze dryer. But these zucchinis were on their way out. You know, they start to look a little funky, get a little soft. So we just skinned them, and we were able to utilize them before they went bad. And so now, of course, they probably won't make it through the week.
That is really cool. Let me read some nice comments. Apple says, yay, the Lissa and Nate show on Chef AJ, my fave. And her name's Apple, so she's raw. She's got a raw name, see? I mean, unless she cooks it. And then I saw another nice comment. Rossum Chrissy says, love these two. Lissa has such a balanced way towards living a healthy life. She is rawsome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I really do try to strive to be as balanced as possible, because I think the balance is what makes it sustainable long term. Because when we're like falling back and forth like between extremes, because one extreme is inevitably going to lead to another extreme. So I like to find the balance while still enjoying just the whole food, plant-based, raw lifestyle. And I want other people to feel it's accessible as well. Right? Like we live in a high rise in the middle of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
It's like, if you can do it, you can do it pretty much anywhere if it's what you want to and you have the means to.
Well, and you were raw in Canada for what, 5?
Yeah, the first 5 winters that I was raw. I've been raw now over 8.5 years-ish. And the first 5 years of my raw food journey were in Canada, in Edmonton, Alberta, where it was like winters are like 7.5 months long, and it gets down to like -30 to -40. Nate came to visit when it was like -47 with the wind chill. It was awesome.
I'm putting goggles on, wearing scarves, gloves. I didn't want any of that stuff, any of the air to touch my skin. I thought I was going to get frostbite right away.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. But hey, I wanted it for myself. I made it work. And
it was cool because, you know, like I learned a lot from her. She just kept her cucumbers on the counter. She kept her bell peppers on the counter, tomatoes on the counter. And then, of course, when we would eat the salad, we'd bring the lettuce out, set it on the counter, you know, for maybe we'd go for a quick little walk in the cold and we would come back that way. Everything wasn't as cold out of the fridge. It was like room temp.
Yeah.
And delicious. I mean, yeah, definitely. When there's a will, there's a way. That's for sure.
Lots of spices too, right? Stimulate that circulation.
Yeah.
You know, Gina says that if she went raw, she'd have to get a food freeze dryer like you have. And she's wondering how that would affect calorie density. But you're just dehydrating fruits and vegetables. So even if it takes the water out there, it can't be that bad, I would imagine.
It's actually more calorically.
Yeah, it is more calorically dense.
It's more calorically dense because you're removing all the water.
Right. So that's what I guess she's afraid of. But even so, fruits and vegetables have such a low caloric density. Even if it doubled, so what, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And unless you're eating like a crazy amount of it, then you would probably, but even so, like cauliflower is so low calorie anyway.
And one of the things cool too is you can reconstitute the mixture, whatever you're making. Like we make this stuff called masala, and it's basically cauliflower mixed up with different,
spices, seasonings.
Yeah, and when we reconstitute it, it basically sucks all the water back in. And of course, it doesn't have quite the same feeling of it being steamed. Maybe, gosh, I don't know.
It's close. It's very close.
It is close. I mean,
the same texture.
It seems cooked. Is really like you're eating it and you're eating some maybe boiled, like it had been boiled, because it sucks up the water pretty good. But that's a good way to eat some of the stuff is reconstitute it.
So you get some more of the water, but it's always really important to drink more water when you're eating more freeze-dried food. But
I'm thirsty. We have our waters here because we were testing the new flavor of the jicama fries. That's the first time we've ever made those. And the zucchini chips. We also did some garlic. We bought a big bag of already shelled garlic and freeze-dried a bunch of garlic to be able to add into recipes and to preserve it for a lot longer, because we're not a restaurant and we bought like a restaurant bag size of garlic.
We love garlic.
But we're thirsty because of the freeze-dried food, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, you're not a restaurant, but people would like you to open one.
I know. The only thing is would they come?
I know they say they would. We used to actually have a raw vegan catering business. It was Nate's little passion for a little while there, but it was interesting because people would be like, oh, I'm so gonna order from you, I can't wait, blah blah blah, and then we wouldn't hear from them and they wouldn't order, and then we eventually had to close it because we just weren't getting enough orders from people. So
it's like, here, just buy the recipe book, you can make it yourself.
Exactly, so you can do it yourself.
Plus, I feel like here in Vegas, I don't know how well, there's been some raw restaurants and some, there's of course a lot of different vegan options, plant-based options here, which is nice, but the raw place is shut down. I really feel like it's probably not the best area for a raw food restaurant here in Las Vegas. I think people are coming here to
for the opposite of health.
Exactly.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny. But you have your own little community there. You found people like mine.
Yeah, we have John Kohler, who's become a really good friend of ours, and we go to LA with him. We go on hikes with him. He's pretty cool.
He's pretty much showed us the ropes of LA because he's been going down there for over 10 years. And so he's been teaching us kind of what he does when he goes down there, hitting up the farmers markets. And then, of course, the wholesaler, the produce wholesaler, which is where all the grocery stores get their produce, is from this LA wholesaler. So it's really,
there's actually a produce district. Like if you search produce district on maps, it shows you that entire area. And there's so many wholesalers in there.
And it's open to the public. You just go in there. If you go to the actual LA produce wholesalers, you want to go and make sure you get a parking pass, or else they'll give you a ticket and even tow your car. If you don't get a parking pass, but parking pass is free, and then you can just walk through and check out all the different produce. So that's been really fun to go connect with him. Other than that,
we've got Angelica.
But she's not necessarily a raw foodie, but she's an ethical vegan, which really makes a huge difference.
She was in the bundle. She had the yoga teacher training. She lives we walked to her house in 30 minutes. So she's really close.
Although we didn't walk there last night.
We drove with our big salad. That was fun. But there's people here, and I mean, we do so much work too. Like building the bundle took months. So we kind of hermit a little bit, and we just do our self-care Sunday, which we were talking about before this live. where every single Sunday we're making a point in 2023 to go on a brand new hike. So we choose a new hike every single weekend and we go do that. And we do like skincare routine, we do the hot tub, we might go for a massage, we might go out with friends. So it's like a Sunday. I really look forward to Sundays because it's like
me too.
That day of the week where we just chill.
This week it was a self-care Monday.
Yeah, it was Monday.
Sunday was the last day of the bundle. But yeah, that's definitely something really good to do. I mean, forever's tuning in. If you can get out once a week into nature, I feel like that's been really important for us, is to, you know, keep up with our weekly hikes in nature, because we live right downtown off of Fremont Street here in Las Vegas. And it's, you know, the energy is a little different. It's live. It's a live energy down here, that's for sure. But it is nice to get out into nature where it's just quiet, and, you know, maybe you hear some birds or whatnot. But yeah, it's been really fun.
Nice meditation.
Nice. I love it. So the sauce that you're making, is that your normal marinara or is it special for this recipe?
It is. I did switch some stuff up a little bit. In the show notes, I didn't have walnuts, but when I was looking through the fridge, I'm like, I want to put walnuts in it to give it a little extra creamy. So everyone watching, we've got 2 tablespoons of crushed walnuts that we got from LA. They're red walnuts. So we're going to be adding those to this as well. And I do like to add tomato powder now. So like my original recipes that I was doing, I didn't use tomato powder. I just did the sun-dried tomatoes. But lately we've been doing the tomato powder, which gives it like an extra super boost of flavor. And we can make our own tomato powder in our freeze dryer. So we buy like a case of tomatoes and freeze dry the tomatoes and then grind them up. So we have our own tomato powder.
And do you grind them up in your Vitamix?
Yeah, you can grind them up in the Vitamix, or like it takes forever, but you could use a little like coffee grinder. But the Vitamix works just fine.
Is it true that when you have things like tomato and grapes, if you're freeze drying them, you have to peel it first?
It is best to cut it. For grapes, it would take a while, but you could poke each grape with like a needle, right? To get the, you know, because you want to have an area for the moisture to be able to escape.
Or you could just cut them in half.
Yeah, if you just cut them in half, because really you want the more surface area is exposed, the better, the easier it is for it to do the sublimation, which is basically like sucking out the moisture.
So you don't have to peel them then?
No, you don't have to peel them.
No.
That would be very labor intensive to peel every tomato.
It would be, especially if you're doing it raw. Most people who do the tomato peeling, they boil them, right? And then they put them in really cold water, so the peels just peel right off. But when you're doing it raw, I mean, you can't really do like peeling. It would be like,
oh my gosh, that'd be a real pain.
Really, with the freeze dryer, again, like Nate said, you need more surface area. So you cut them like you're going to cut them for a burger. So they're big and round and they got lots of surface area, not too thick. So they freeze dry properly. And then,
or if they're the cherry tomatoes, you can cut them in half, quarter them, basically cut them in half and cut them in half again. That works good.
And then just grind them up when they're all dry. You got some powder and it gives so much flavor.
One of my favorite things is the bell pepper.
Oh, yes.
Freeze-dried bell pepper. You can just eat them just like candy.
Yeah, freeze-dried bell pepper is definitely one of the favorites. We actually, last time we were in LA, we went to the produce market and we got this massive case of organic heirloom bell peppers for $8 because they were just like on the tips, they were kind of a little soft. And we dehydrated and freeze-dried them. Yeah,
so look, here's a dehydrated one. Let's see if I can get it to see the color there. Right, so that's all. This is dehydrated. So you can rehydrate this. This is still really good to throw in your soups and different things, you know, you're making. And this is freeze-dried. Look at the color and they keep their shape and their color, and the flavor is incredible.
Yeah, they taste better freeze-dried, and the freeze-dried ones also weigh less as well.
Right, they weigh a lot less. But freeze-dried bell peppers, that's probably been one of my favorite things, aside from the dragon fruit.
Hey, but let me ask you a question. Does it fill you up? Because you know, we have the Truth About Weight Loss Summit coming up for 9 days free starting on Saturday. Put a link in there. Lissa was on it last year. And, you know, Dr. Rolls, who basically did more research in calorie density than any other human, said water's like the most important component. If you want to feel full, you're taking out the water. So how do you feel full on freeze-dried food?
Well, it's you either rehydrate it or reconstitute it, it's called, in water. So, you know, you're adding a couple cups of water to your mixture, and you just kind of stir it up. Like you can do a cold soak, or you can actually like warm up some water on the stove, toss your stuff in to make like a soup mixture of some sort to rehydrate it. That really helps. Or you just drink water. You're going to get, if you eat freeze-dried food.
Yeah, you do feel thirsty because it is like
it's sucking the water out of us.
Space food, right? So,
Yeah.
but the reason why we do it is because number one, it's fun and it tastes delicious.
It's a great way to preserve.
To preserve food.
Or to utilize food that you would
Yeah.
need to toss, like the zucchini chips that we just did. The zucchini, like I said, was starting to go back to Mother Nature. You know what I mean? So we peeled it and marinated it up with just a little bit of seasoning, some lemon juice, and then freeze dried it. So it's a great way to utilize certain things that are maybe going south. Same with the dehydrator. That's what I really think is really cool is, yeah, not only is it fun, but preservation.
Yeah. So as a raw foodie, because I've been asked plenty of times, like in the past before I even met Nate, that people would be like, what if there was a catastrophe or whatever, and there wasn't fresh fruits and veggies at the store? And, you know, like there was a part of me that would be like, oh, what would I do if I didn't have access to fresh raw food? And that's what I wanted. Obviously,
nothing is going to be like the fresh.
Yeah, nothing's like the fresh, but having the freeze-dried food, because when you freeze-dry food, it retains up to 97% of the nutrition. Whereas when you dehydrate it, it only retains about 60, maybe 70% of the
Why is that, you think? I mean, why the difference? And which lasts longer? Because Kathy wants to know how long freeze-dried food lasts.
Freeze-dried food, if it's packaged in a Mylar food grade style bag with an oxygen absorber in the bag, it is said up to 25 years. Now, we haven't done that, so we don't necessarily know, but 25 years.
Yeah, when stored properly.
Yeah, and dehydrated stuff is about like 5 years.
Yeah, I've heard anywhere
1 to 5 years.
Depends on how you store it, what it is.
It really, excuse me, it really depends on how it's stored. You want to have no oxygen in how you're storing it. So what we have here is we've got the jars. Like we just bought a bunch of strawberries down there at the wholesaler. Let me get a close up for you. See, and these strawberries were on their way out. We got them for a really good deal because they were on their way out. So what we did is we got home, and Lissa just spent a couple hours in the kitchen and chopped them all up, and then we freeze dried it. But then we have these lids, which are special lids to be able to suck the air out of the jar. So now we're going to use these. We're going to eat these, but these with the air sucked out of it, this will last for years and it will taste the same. Now I reconstituted some strawberries just in a bowl, and
they're kind of mushy.
They're not going to be the same. It's not the same as a fresh strawberry, but still great to throw in your desserts or your oatmeal or your yogurt.
Smoothies, if you want to give they're really like a flavor explosion. And yeah, like vacuum sealing. So you had asked what would be the difference, why with the freeze drying, is because when you're freeze drying, you're doing it under vacuum. So there's no air constantly being blown. Like in a dehydrator, it's blowing air and all of the parts are exposed to the air that's oxidizing.
Exactly.
Right. So it's oxidizing the food, which, you know, degrades like the nutrition, right? There's still nutrition in it.
Still nutrition.
But with a freeze dryer, because it happens under vacuum in like an oxygen deprived environment for 40 hours, like there's no air to oxidize the food. So you're actually preserving as much nutrition as possible because it's not interacting with the water.
Now this last batch we did was under 30 hours. It was over 24 hours. So it does take a little while. And I know some people may be concerned about electricity, but from what I gather is it's, you know, there's YouTubers out there who have done electrical tests to see how much it's actually drawing, depending on what size of machine you have and how long it's going for. But it's not very much, like maybe $1 to $1.40 per run of electricity is what they're saying, which is, you know.
And it depends on where you live and what your electricity costs are. But yeah, like $1 to $2. I mean, for a whole 5 trays with a large dehydrator.
It's interesting. I'd like to watch some more videos about that because I don't know. And it would be nice to kind of know a bit more about how much electricity it is taking, because I know that is a concern for certain people,
Mhm.
especially if they're on solar or something like that. But it is fun. Oh my gosh. And it's light. It's really lightweight. And that was another really big plus. Not only can we preserve and kind of prep, right? Like be prepared for, say if there is a shortage or something. But when we do actually go for backpacking trips, like long distance backpacking trips, it's not a lot of weight that we're carrying, because raw food like this here is, this cucumber weighs a lot. You add 6 of these into your backpack, of course, we're not bringing freeze-dried cucumbers. Actually, when we do go hike, we'll bring a whole raw cucumber and eat it that night or the next day. And we have hiked with melons before, eat them the next morning. But that's another really cool thing, is the weight is just not that heavy.
It's so awesome for traveling. You just put it in a little
And it's
container,
condensed.
add water,
Right.
you're good to go.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. If somebody wasn't raw and you make like a soup or a chili and then freeze dry that, and then at your destination, make it soup again?
Yeah, what you can do is, they have little stoves, or if you're just, you're making it at home, you just would warm up some water on the stove, toss it in, stir it around.
I was thinking like a hotel, like would it just be like a dried thing and you just break it up?
Yeah, what you could do is you could just take like a
Oh, we have a cold soup in that one.
okay, look at here, like an empty peanut butter jar.
Yeah, so we have these jars that we take with us camping when we do the cold soaks. And we're actually going to be creating a recipe book with recipes for freeze dryers and dehydrators. So people don't have
this is a meal right here. This is about 700 calories. And we made this. It's got corn, bell peppers, onions, black beans, lentils. We made like a raw sunflower seed meat. It's also got some potatoes in here. This is freeze-dried potatoes.
Yeah,
and then of course,
like totally raw, this one.
And then of course seasonings, instant potatoes. So this is what I actually was bringing with me on the trail. And this is really light, and it's 700 calories.
Yeah, so you would just dump it.
You just pour it in pour it in the jar, the peanut butter jar or whatever. Like some people like to use like I don't know, those little ice cream talenti or something like that. But basically you could take this, shake it up with a little water, let it set. And that's what's cool with the cold soaks. You just throw it in your backpack, and then by the time you get to your base camp or whatever, you take it out, and everybody's sitting down with their stove trying to heat up their food, and you're just eating right away. Of course, it's not warm, right? But yeah, cold soak is the greatest. So hotel, it's so lightweight. You could have, gosh, you could have, a couple thousand calories in a little case, and have several meals. Do maybe like if you do oats or something like that, quick oats, those are another really cool thing overnight. Throw your freeze-dried fruits and stuff in it.
Yeah, and we also have like a raw one that I created that has like the bloomed rice in it. It's not really rice, it's like a seed. There's tomato, it's a tomato coconut curry with coconut powder and tomato powder and spices.
So this is the bloomed rice.
Freeze-dried.
This is forbidden rice. You can't really see the greatest, but so it's been bloomed, basically like soaking it in water. And especially, it's so amazing how under vacuum is the way to go. So if you soak your wild black rice, your forbidden rice, under vacuum using one of these little vacuum pumps and a vacuum lid in a jar, it'll actually soak and bloom faster, like a day.
Just kind of like Instant Pot.
Yeah,
because it's under pressure.
Everything under vacuum, of course, because the concept is it's less air touching it too.
Yeah.
So yeah, the bloomed rice though, we dehydrated it, and it wouldn't rehydrate the greatest. Even after soaking it for 4 or 5 hours, it's still a little chewy, a little harder. But we took and freeze dried, and it is amazing. It reconstitutes so good.
Yeah, it's really good. So the freeze dried one.
And essentially, it's a raw rice. It's bloomed, freeze dried, and then rehydrated. It's really, we're nerding out with it for sure, but it makes it really nice because that rice is super light. That with like lentils, and some
lentil
creamy curry lentil rice mixture. And with different vegetables, onions and peppers, you can just re-soak it. So of course, that's why we really wanted to get the freeze dryer. It's funny because each show.
I know every show.
I know, it's so funny. I'm thinking of getting one now. I think you guys have sold me that lid you had for the strawberry. Is that something you just get at Bed Bath & Beyond, or is that something you get from the company to keep things?
In the description underneath the recipe, there's a link for the freeze dryers, and there's a link to these lids.
So these lids just go on wide mouth mason jars.
We're gonna put some sauce in there
Right.
too, so you guys can see.
So it's just this special lid, and it just basically has a little O-ring with this little valve. So as you suck the air out, the air can escape, but it's such good suction that it sucks, the O-ring down. So it comes with the vacuum pump, and it comes with 16 lids. These are great for dressings or smoothies or juices or sauces or whatever you want to store, freeze-dried stuff, dehydrated stuff. You just stick this on top and then just pump the air out of it. Yeah, and what we were going to use this jar for was
we're going to show you the extra dressing that we have, how
Yeah.
we save dressings under vacuum so that we can use it the next day, and it tastes just like you just
Oh
made
my
it.
gosh, amazing. Or like we just got some sugarcane juice down in
Yeah.
LA, and we had some ginger and lime pressed into it as well, so it stays fresher even longer with that in there. And that is sealed under vacuum. And as we were there, we're pulling out all the air after the fresh pressed juice is there, and you can see it start to kind of get foggy, and it's pulling all the air out of the juice. So right now it's been over a week and it tastes just like we just got it fresh.
Yeah.
But if we didn't have it under vacuum, it would be bad. We would have had to throw it out.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Because oxygen, of course,
Yeah.
breaks the stuff down, So that's the concept. Is with the freeze dryer so cool because it's under vacuum. It's done under vacuum, the process.
Yeah, I think the only problem with it for people, I'm thinking their objection might be, is that they are pretty costly compared to even say a food dehydrator.
Yeah,
Very.
food dehydrator maybe $400, where a freeze dryer, a large size, is $4,000.
And I think I looked on the website, the smallest one was 2,400.
Yeah.
So, it is a good investment, but although that is a tool, if it's taken care of and maintained properly, it should last a lifetime. Their support group, their Harvest Right is amazing. Like if you have issues with your anything, they will help you and get you figured out. There's not a lot of parts necessarily. So it's a big investment. It really is. And I mean, I'm sure there's probably some people out there that are like super tech. They might even be able to figure out how to make one themselves, but it is nice to have everything. It's so simple. It's like they don't even have to know what to do. You just freeze your stuff, throw it in, and press the button.
Yeah, and the machine does everything. And we've been saving up for it. We saved up for like 3 years to get ours.
It's been kind of a dream of ours to have one because of the different things that you can make. Like say if you like making nut milk, right? Like almond milk or cashew milk. And maybe you want to do like a cashew chocolate milk with like carob powder, right? Delicious. Or hemp milk or something. You can mix that in your Vitamix. And especially if you're doing your blending under vacuum, even better, because less air, less oxidizing, because you're not blending air into it. And then pour that milk onto the dehydrator sheet.
Or the freeze
dryer sheet, sorry. And then freeze dry your milk. And then you've got freeze-dried milk.
Yeah, you could turn it into a powder and then just use that as a powder.
Yeah, if you want to add like something into your dressing or sauce, or even say maybe a smoothie, if some people like to add milks to their smoothies. Just another really cool way to preserve, because if you're blending up some almond milk or cashew milk, unless it's sealed under vacuum and put in the fridge,
you have to use it up fast.
It's going to spoil. Yeah. So this is a great way to help spoilage.
And we're going to talk all about the freeze dryer next month.
Yeah, and we also be able to show it because Kathy wanted to see it. And which size do you have? Small, medium, or large?
We got the large, and they actually, I think, are coming out with an extra large, which we probably would have got the extra large if it was out at the time. But we got the large. We figure, hey, go big or go home.
Exactly. We're going to spend a couple $1,000s. Might as well get the big one.
Yeah.
But we're going to be filming in our office with the
Yeah.
microgreens rack and the freeze dryer next month, March 14th.
So yeah, we'll run you through the whole.
That'll be great. That'll be amazing. Thank you. Russell Chrissy says the lids to store the food that you dehydrate. Can you use those lids for dehydrated foods as well as freeze-dried foods?
100%. These lids can be used for whatever you like. They go on a wide mouth mason jar. So whatever you have in your wide mouth mason jar that you want to suck the air out, like it's not, if you're storing beans, let's say, or rice, you don't need to suck the air out of the beans or rice jar, but
Like with the dry ones.
with the dry ones, but it would make sense they would last even longer if there's no air, because if you buy, say, beans, they're going to come somewhat sealed in a bag. There's not going to be any oxygen in there, but yeah, these lids will work for whatever you want to suck the air out of. Yeah.
Yeah, they're really super cool.
Yeah. So on our dehydrated stuff, we have the air sucked out of there. Basically, we've gotten boxes of these lids. We want to order another box too, because I just want to have them everywhere.
Yeah.
Because it's nice to be able to have that option, to be able to vacuum out the air, because we do want to save.
And also when we go traveling, like when we drive to LA or when we go out for a hike or whatever, or camping trip, for example, if we're going for 2 or 3 days, we'll blend our dressing under vacuum, which will show you our BioChef. The link is in the show notes as well. We will blend it under vacuum and then we will seal it.
I don't think you gave me any links to that, because I cut and paste everything in the email and I don't see any of those links you're talking about.
It's underneath the recipe part. There's like the marinara sauce, and then
you're right. Vacuum. You're so right. I am so sorry.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, so there's the vacuum BioChef, which you can get from discountjuicers.com. Our friend John has it on his website. It works on the old school Vitamix bases, not the new ones. You have to have like the old version of the Vitamix.
They still make it's just not the accent series or the Ascent series
with the Bluetooth and stuff.
They still make those old bases though, yeah.
But you need a new jug. This is the BioChef jug because it has different bearings.
Yeah,
so
it's got a different bearing in there because you're vacuuming out the air and it's pulling, it's a lot of pressure on that bearing. So it is a special bearing. It's different than what comes with Vitamix. Yep.
Yeah, so when we go camping or traveling or whatever, we'll blend under vacuum and then we seal under vacuum, and our sauces last like 4 or 5 days.
Longer. And the
longer.
high fat dressings, like, you know, if we make a cashew based dressing, it will last up to a couple weeks under vacuum. You can't tell the difference. So say like a cashew sour cream. Cashew sour cream already lasts pretty good, like 5 days in the fridge without it being blended under vacuum or stored under vacuum. So you can imagine if you blend it under vacuum as well as store it under vacuum, it's going to double the time you get out of it. What we really like though, it's and it's not like it may sound like, I know it may sound all crazy, like there's all these things, but it's so simple. And we'll really kind of break it down through some of these shows for you guys, because all it is you just kind of make the adjustment. You have your Vitamix, get the BioChef, right? And then get the lids. These lids aren't very much. I think we paid
that's like 24 bucks.
16, or was it 24? 16 lids.
I mean, sometimes
it's Amazon
sale.
Yeah, so $20 for 16 lids and the pump. You know, they may be a little over $1 a lid, but if you take care of them, it should last for like, I mean, I want to say a lifetime because there's little plastic on the top.
Yeah, it might break at some point, but you know,
at least like at least 5 or maybe even 10 years out of those lids.
So yeah, let's get making our sauce here.
Yeah. That's the thing, and people are wondering, where's the recipe? The thing is your recipes are so easy. If we did it first, we'd be done in like 2 minutes.
Right, I know, and we like to talk.
Right. Very true, very true.
So we're going to be making our marinara sauce, and we have the chunky portion of this in the dehydrator. It's already ready to go. So what we did for that part was, it's super simple. You just slice the mushrooms, slice the onions, add any other veggies. We also added peas, frozen peas that we had frozen from fresh, and we marinated in a little bit of coconut aminos, some lemon juice. We used some tamari koji, which is a living food, fermented, and grated garlic. And I think of some maple in there too. But you make like a little sauce and you just marinate the mushrooms in the dehydrator so they get really soft and nice, like kind of in a way like sauteed, but still raw. So we have those in the dehydrator waiting for the sauce. which we're gonna do right now. And I'm gonna start with about a cup of water-ish. And I'll add more water if we need to. Always start with a smaller amount because I don't want this to be super thin. I want it to be kind of like a thick sauce. And then we have our tomatoes. I in the recipe it says 1 Roma tomato, but we only have these little Camparis. So we're putting 2 in there.
I love those Camparis. They taste so good.
And then we have a bell pepper. So we're gonna put the bell pepper in there. Thank you very much. Just chop this. I like to chop it into chunks. So
you kind of help your blender out a little bit.
Yeah.
Less work for the blender to chop everything up. I mean, of course, it will chop everything up.
Especially if you put the liquid in first, really helps.
Yeah, the liquid in first is key.
We got a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Let's see, we have space for this. We got a tablespoon of miso paste. You could skip that if you wanted to. I've got a tablespoon of tomato powder.
And that's some chickpea miso.
Yes, we use the chickpea miso for this one.
You got that at the farmer's market down there in LA. It's delicious.
Half a teaspoon of smoked paprika to give it that little smoky flavor. Now I've got 4 cloves of garlic. You could start with 1 if you want. We like a lot of garlic, so we're putting 4 in there. And then we have 5 dates. This is like the secret to a good marinara. When I first went raw, I would try a lot of different marinaras that didn't have any dates or anything. It was just like blended tomatoes and celery or whatever. And they were just missing something, like this angle that was like, it was okay, but it wasn't like epic. So I went to the grocery store and obviously like reading the ingredients, sugar is like one of the top ingredients in some of the most popular tomato pastes. And I was like, what if I just used a whole food instead of like adding white sugar? So we've got 5 dates and this is going to give calories and it's a whole food. So
this smells so good, by the way.
And then to make it extra awesome, we've got sun-dried tomatoes. So there's half a cup of sun-dried tomatoes.
I think it might be like the apple cider vinegar and the tomato powder and paprika.
Oh yeah.
It's really making it smell amazing.
And then this is, well, like we said, it's not in the recipe notes, but you could also add, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of walnuts to make it a creamy marinara. So why not, right? Because you can add other things that you like to your dressing. So that's our dressing. I think I might add a little bit more water just looking at it.
Yeah, those sun-dried tomatoes, they really soak up that water.
Right. So now,
Here, bring that container over to the
yeah.
Bring that container over and we'll show them the lid here. The lid.
Okay, so yeah, here's the Vitamix.
So this is what's special about this BioChef lid is it's got this rubber seal around the end. And then you've got this special lid right here, this top. And then this here in the middle has a little pull tab, this little rubber tab you can just pull to let the oxygen out. It's such a tight.
Let the oxygen in.
I'll let the oxygen in. Sorry, yes. And so it's such a tight seal. I like to take the lid and kind of just take it off a little bit because it's such a good suction to get the lid squeezed on there. If it's not.
That's why you need this jug because it has to be completely sealed. Whereas the other Vitamix
the way the lip is,
yeah.
It's a different kind of lip. We've tried this particular lid on the original Vitamix carafe. And it doesn't work the same. So that's basically all one unit, the carafe and the lid, and then it comes with the vacuum.
Yeah, so here's the vacuum. You just put it on top here and you push the on button and it starts to suck the air out of the blender. So you're not blending air into your dressing.
It's amazing. You're not blending air into just mixing. If you picture, if it's not in your vacuum, you're just mixing air into your whatever it is you're blending.
Yeah. So for people who blend a lot of smoothies and a lot of sauces and they have excess gas, sometimes it's just all the air that you're consuming. Because if you swap out to a vacuum blender, it's like it can decrease your gas and bloating because you're not consuming it.
Because you're not drinking aerated smoothie or soup mixture. Like when we would make soup, it would be like kind of foamy on the top, kind of bubbly and foamy. And we would tap the bowl and let it sit there for a while and stir it and have to let it sit for a while. Now, blending under vacuum, the soups are thick and creamy with no air bubbles.
Yeah. And the smoothies, they have like this different texture. They're thicker, they're silkier, they taste better. Like I can't believe we waited so long to get this.
We waited a long time. We heard about it like in 2019 from our friend John Kohler. And we're like, yeah, pish posh, we're gonna get a vacuum blender. What is that? And then we actually started to talk to him a little bit more about it. We're like, that actually makes sense. Let's do it. Let's get the vacuum. Now that vacuum comes with both a cord to plug it into the wall, or you can run it on AA batteries. On the top, you just unscrew it and you can run it with AA batteries, but we use it a good 3 to maybe 5 times a day. So, you know, because we're doing smoothies, we're doing like a couple of dressings, you know, so it's best just to plug. We just keep it plugged into the wall.
Yeah. So now that it's done,
It
you
stops.
can always
It stops by
it stops
itself.
by itself. You can always push it again just to get that little extra out. So you could do it like that, and it gets the rest.
That crap again, Dave. You take the vacuum off there. So you got to push the little button
At the bottom. You push the button at the bottom, it releases the top.
the vacuum. But I wanted to show you this lid. I wanted to see if you can kind of see, look at how much it sucked that rubber lid down into the so that's some powerful suction.
Yeah, it also, you can also see that the side of the jug is like sucked into.
When you release let the air in, release the vacuum.
Yeah, we'll
you can,
do that up
yeah,
front.
you can see everything. Exactly. That'll be cool. You can see everything expand. So
Mhm.
it's just a really fantastic. Honestly, if there were to be one thing I would suggest to upgrade, first and foremost would be the vacuum blender, and along with the lids, maybe the lids first, because the lids are only $20, to where that's like a better investment, you know, depending.
That's like $190 or $200
Yeah.
for this setup. But it's so worth it. We actually have a backup just in case.
We bought another one just to put like hoarder style, put it in our closet just to make sure if something ever did happen.
Yeah, we would have another one.
Yeah.
So Nate, while this is blending,
Oh.
Nate's going to grab the mushrooms and put them in a bowl.
Yeah.
So he's gonna go grab the mushrooms from the dehydrator and put them in a bowl while we quickly blend this. Now, I want to make a side note. We're not going to be blending this for 2 minutes on the show because that's just annoying.
What kind of bowl?
But
This bowl back here?
yeah, sure.
Okay.
So these are the dehydrated mushrooms, and we have
Mushrooms and
peas and
onions. I'll just kind of show a little close up here. So it's just this, little marinated mixture, just slightly dehydrated, just to kind of limp them out, like Lissa was saying.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So if we were doing this and we weren't on the show, I would be blending this for 2 minutes straight to warm it up, because the friction of the blades warms it up. So it's like what we call warmed to raw.
Warmed to raw.
Yeah, so it's like 115 degrees Fahrenheit. It was warm to the touch, so it's still considered raw. But I don't want to blend it for 2 minutes on the show. I'm just going to blend it up really quick so you guys see what it's like. And we're probably just going to put this in the dehydrator to warm up before we eat it. So I'm going to blend this, and Nate's going to get ready to do the cucumber.
I might as well do the cucumbers at the same time. I'll just show you this here. Let me turn this a
Good
little bit,
idea.
because they're both kind of noisy. So what we have here on this side is the Veggie Bullet, and it's just a real nice machine to be able to spiralize cucumbers, right? So I'll do the cucumbers. I'm going to do really just one whole English cucumber, then I have to empty it. But I really do like this machine. There are other spiralizers like we were talking about that you could get, but if you're doing a lot of cucumbers, this is a great tool. But it's a bummer deal because I guess maybe they don't sell them anymore.
I know. I went to look on Amazon to add it, and they don't have any.
Yeah.
But they might have, like, you could maybe find one used, or maybe on eBay they might have like a knockoff version.
I wonder
I've
if
seen a couple here and there, but yeah.
AJ, can you mute us? Should she mute us?
I can mute you, but you know what? The blend Zoom does mute things pretty well.
Perfect. Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
And I can talk to you guys. Hello, guys. How are you? I'll get to your questions in the chat while they're blending. And I'll just tell you who's going to be on the show at 2 p.m. We have a bonus show today with Dave Toe. He is someone I met at Rancho La Puerta who does Watsu therapy, which I first learned about 20 years ago when I was attending culinary school at Harbin Hot Springs. It's pretty amazing the work he's doing with PTSD and United States veterans. So you'll definitely want to tune into that.
Yeah.
And please make sure you register for the Truth About Weight Loss Summit. I do need to get you guys that link. If you're on my mailing list, you already have it. Please get on my mailing list, because then you'll know who is on every week. There's about every Saturday, sometimes Sunday, we send out the schedule of the guests, and that's how you are able to ask questions when it's doctors, because when they're doctors, they get a lot of questions. So thank all of you who bought the bundle, whoever you bought it from, we're very much appreciative. 50 shows in 10 days is quite exhausting. So I don't know if you've ever tried that. I think they're still blending. Aren't they a cute couple? I want to ask them what they're doing Valentine's Day. I don't know if you guys saw my post, if you follow me on either Instagram or Facebook, the gift I got from my husband. It's quite spectacular. It may not seem romantic to you, but if you know what the 5 love languages are, then you'll see why I like it so much. Tell me when you guys are done. I was just talking to the troops, and there are some questions like, what are you going to do for Valentine's Day?
We're gonna take a nap.
I was just gonna say, we're gonna take a nap. We're gonna go to the hot tub and take a nap.
Yeah, I've got to get my passport photos and deal with some passport stuff, but we're gonna take a nap and probably just chill, like pretty light.
I've got a little present for her, but
oh,
are you going to give it to her on the air?
Oh man, I don't know if I could give her to her on the air. It might be kind of boring. It might be kind of boring. I was thinking of a foot rub.
Oh, good. Oh, that's what I had yesterday. I went to time massage. That's what I did. That is the best present.
So look at here. I want to show you this real quick. You can see how the indent is. Now watch, listen to this. Ready? See if we can watch the angle. I'm trying to get the angle of the light to show. Watch the lid there and the side of the container. So did you hear that?
I heard it.
Yeah. So now, actually, I'm going to keep the lid on because I still have a couple things to add. The reason why I don't add the fresh herbs right away is because when you're blending it for 2 minutes, the herbs start to get really bitter, and then it's not the greatest experience.
So pro tip. Do the blend of the sauce first, and then add your basil or your oregano, and then you can just pulse that in and kind of blend it real quick, maybe like 10 to 15 seconds.
Yeah, so I've got in here a half a cup of basil and about a teaspoon of dried oregano. And then all I have to do here is do a really quick pulse. Like not even, I want to do another one.
There you go.
It's a little thick. That's good.
Perfect.
There we go. Just to break up the fresh herbs so you get the aroma and everything without getting bitter. Because when you blend it with the herbs,
it almost ruins it.
Yeah.
When it's blended in there for minutes. There it is.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Now, do we want to put this on the plate and pour the sauce on top?
Yeah, we'll portion it out just for the pictures.
Yeah. Okay.
So what I like to do next is when it's all ready to go, just pour that into the bowl that you have your veggies. And Nate,
you want to save some sauce for the
here you can take that out. So this is our jar that we're going to have some extra.
Smells so good. Okay, so say you made a little extra sauce, right? Which is good to do. Like maybe you're making some of this stuff up. You can save the sauce. This is a really cool sauce to add to. Say you have someone over and they like to do noodles, right? This would be great to put on top of the noodles. You could whoop up a quick thing of spaghetti for them, and or if you're raw and you make a little extra sauce. You can use this for making another thing of noodles, say the next day, the following day.
And because it was blended under vacuum,
it's going to stay.
Even though we did pulse a little bit of air in, it's not the end of the world. But now we can make sure that we clean the
you want to make sure the lid is nice and clean. Now we don't have a lot of sauce in here, but just to kind of give you an idea of how this would work, you just put your lid on. Now, if you are putting stuff in there and filling the jar up, you want to leave a good 1 to 1.5 inches of space.
Very important.
But before you get to the top, because it actually will expand slightly, but this has been blended under vacuum, so it's not going to expand very much. But then you just take this, hold it down tight on the jar, and it just gets so tight. And there it is. So this is sealed under vacuum. Get you?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's why I wear an apron.
I'm gonna release real quick so you can hear. So you hear that? So really cool. You want to get something out, you don't maybe use it all. Maybe say if you have a whole thing of dressing or a soup, you can just vacuum out again and then store it. And it's
Ready? There we go. It's upside down and yeah, good to go.
Yep. There it is.
So we store that. We can add it to another salad. We could have it for.
Yeah, let's have it. Let's
store that. We'll add it to like maybe we might make a creamy tomato dressing. We'll just add that to it. Oh yeah, this is sugarcane juice.
This is the sugarcane juice that we got that is under vacuum. And I just actually tapped the thingy so it slightly let it out. I kind of want some of that.
Rehydrate, re-vacuum that one.
But the vacuum lids are just really fun and you can put them on, use them for so many things. Really handy tool.
And here we go. We have our plates.
Oh, so
and then basically we just take some of the noodles. Now we normally when we make this, we'll do 2 cucumbers each. So it's like a massive amount. But we just did 1 each for this, but I'm just gonna plate enough for.
Okay. And then there's a question from Alexandria. She said, when you first started raw, was it challenging for you to get past the first 3 or 4 consecutive days? And if so, how did you overcome that?
It would depend on what the struggle is, because I feel like everybody has a different kind of a struggle. Like if it's family or cravings or just like not knowing what to make or not eating enough, that's probably the #1 reason why people aren't able to maintain raw, is that if you go too long eating only like 1,200 calories a day, because like we were talking about calorie density, like this big bowl of cucumbers, 2 cucumbers is like maybe 100 calories, maybe, but it fills your stomach up because of the water and the fiber. So you're not getting a lot of calories, but yet you feel full. So on a raw diet, you do have to eat more and maybe more often in order to get enough calories to sustain your BMR plus your activity level. Otherwise, you might not be able to, like, you're gonna have tons of cravings. So for me, when I first went raw, the key was eating enough, making sure that I was eating enough and trying to find new fun ways to make raw food, like new recipes and stuff. And actually, I just, in the bundle, if anyone watching has purchased the bundle, my 52 to a New You raw vegan transition guide is in there to help people to transition. And it's going to be on my website later today. I'm hoping to be able to get it on my website tonight. If you didn't get the bundle, you can get it from my ebook store. But yeah, it's really like your plan your meals, make sure that you're eating enough, schedule in the food prep, play around with new recipes, and just start eating more. And if you have to eat more often, do it, because then at least you're going to be getting more calories in to satiate you instead of struggling. You can
always just say the mantra.
Yeah, one day at a time.
I'm a raw vegan today. I am a raw vegan today.
And it really helps to focus your
eating enough is key, though. It really is, because it isn't, raw foods aren't very calorically dense. They're very water rich foods, so their calories aren't very dense, and so you do have to eat more and very possibly eat more often. You know, I mean, really, like every few hours you might be a little hungry. So if you are hungry, one of the tricks that I used when I was at work is I would always have apple or grapes for a snack. Sometimes I would do the celery, like some celery and some dates. They'll be kind of sweet and salty and crunchy. But
yeah, just making sure that you have enough to eat. You eat enough.
That's huge.
You eat enough variety as well, because if you're eating way too simply, it can be really challenging too. Like, yeah, I think that's good just for the show.
Got some basil leaves.
Basil leaves. Okay, so once we have this on here, I think we're gonna need to do the Lady in the Tramp thing. And then you just put the marinara on.
So good.
And yeah, we will split this entire amount, but we would have 2 extra cucumbers because we normally do 2 cucumbers each. And then the sauce. Look at that.
Maybe this can be our noodle.
Our noodle, okay.
Do you ever dehydrate or freeze dry the sauce?
We haven't tried this sauce dehydrate or freeze dried yet.
But you totally can.
Yeah, you totally could, definitely. And then you would just add water whenever you wanted it.
Yep. Our friend John, what he'll do is he'll make soups. He'll make a bunch of soups.
Oh yeah,
up.
his raw soups.
Yep. And then he'll jar them up and of course, vacuum seal the jars. And then he has freeze dried soups. Sometimes he eats the freeze dried soup just like a cracker, or sometimes he will reconstitute it.
So he has one of the Harvest Food freeze dryers as well, huh?
Yes, yeah.
So he probably has the bigger one, I'm guessing.
I think his is a medium.
Yeah, his is smaller than ours.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see it next time.
Oh,
The whole process. It's gonna
Yeah,
blow
we're gonna
our
have a lot.
minds.
It is such the best.
It's
the coolest invention. It's cool to hear the story of how it was invented too.
Yeah, we'll share that.
Yep.
Well, I'll see if I can get somebody from the company to come on the show and talk about the machine,
That would be so
really
cool.
sweet. Yeah. So cool.
Mona says, how many uses can you get from each lid?
Oh, countless.
Yeah.
Thousands.
Yeah.
Because really, you just wash it just like you would a regular mason jar lid. Like imagine well, what's cool is they're made out of stainless, so they're not going to rust. Like regular ball mason jar or Care or Car, whatever the brands are. Sometimes those will rust, but man, you can use them for, like I said, if you were to really take care of the lid, I would imagine it should last a decade. And you could get thousands of uses out of that lid. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. There's our little marinaras.
Marinaras. Look at that. I mean, how fast was that? I don't even know. Like,
Yeah, this is one of the faster things. I mean, it was long because we just like to talk, but if we were just doing it, this is one of the fastest things because a lot of times we do like portion out veggies already frozen for certain things in like little containers in the freezer and just like take it out of the freezer and put it in the dehydrator.
Yep.
That will dehydrate, and then maybe an hour and a half before we eat, we'll put that in the dehydrator. And then when it's time to eat, we just make the noodles, make the sauce, mix it together, and we've got food. It's like so fast.
It's really fast. Like honestly, like doing everything from start to finish, aside from say like if you just get home and you want to have this for dinner, you could get the marinade going real quick with the mushrooms real quick. And of course, I know a lot of people when they get home, they're tired, right? But if you do
It takes
that,
like 5 minutes though.
yeah, honestly, like under 10 minutes, definitely under 10 minutes, you can have that in the dehydrator. And then, you go get, take your shoes off, right? Mr. Rogers style, get your house shoes on or something. And then what you do is you just, exactly, like make the marinade, which should only take like, honestly, like another 10 minutes. And then you saw how fast it was to coodle up the noodles. That's
Coodle up. I love that. You guys are going to coodle up later when you take your nap, aren't you?
And then, you take the stuff out of the dehydrator, mix it up. So really like all in all, hands-on time, probably less than 20 minutes.
Yeah, less than 20 minutes. So it's a really simple.
And it's a raw dish. Now, of course, this is why we would eat, honestly, like we would probably eat like at least 2 of these, if not 3 each. That's why we would normally do 2 whole cucumbers each, because there's not a lot of calories in cucumber.
Right.
And of course, you can also beef up, so to speak, the sauce by making some.
You can put lentils in it. We totally forgot.
Here, no, we'll just sprinkle them right on top.
Cool.
So check it here. We'll show you guys another little cool thing. This is another thing that's really nice to have in your kitchen. It's just a sprouting setup. Now you don't have to have this particular jar and rack system, but it looks really nice on your counter.
We just got that on Amazon.
Holds 2 jars. It's beautiful. It comes with a jar, stainless steel screens and lids. And then we have our sprouts. And this here, I started these sprouts. Chef AJ, I started these sprouts on your show on Saturday. So look at them. They're perfect. This was on Saturday. Here we are. It's Tuesday, and they're completely done, like ready to
go. So what we would do, I want to take pictures of these without them, but
so you just sprinkle some lentils. This is more living food.
And then you just mix it in, and that gives you the protein,
Yeah, good
more,
amount of
more
protein,
calories,
more fiber,
more variety.
and then of course,
Mhm.
more of the vitamins and minerals that are in sprouts.
And then that's what we would normally
Toss
put
on, yep.
on top of our.
I know,
We have it all nice and
I
presented.
forgot to
It's okay.
bring those over.
We also have some red pepper flakes that if you want to add a little spice, you can add a little spice on here.
Yes.
Cool. You guys are great. The
Aw.
people are really interested in this machine and I can't wait myself.
Oh my gosh, next month, you guys,
Yeah,
next month, we'll dig into it. We'll give you the full rundown of the whole system.
Mhm.
And yeah, hopefully it will inspire some of you guys to actually make the investment. It is an
Yeah.
investment.
Start saving.
It
right?
is an investment.
Different bank account where you
Yeah.
put $50, $100 here and there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like we actually had a separate account for it, and it was over 3 years that we were like, well, we better put some more money in that account for the freeze dryer because we want to get that thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, the company doesn't give any kind of discounts like, like we get for some of our products, I would imagine.
No, not that I know of, but they do run sales. I think they have a Valentine sale right now. Something on Black Friday, they had $500 off the large machine. I wish we would have bought it.
Yeah.
Black
And,
Friday,
and
but-
also another thing too is depending on their back order system, it might take a little while to
Mhm.
get the machine. We actually waited for
It's
a
like
good,
3 or 4 months.
yeah,
before
we
got
waited
ours.
several
Well, if
months.
I get it, can I hire you guys as my Zoom consultants to teach me how to use it? Because I'm so, I'm terrible with that. Like when I got the Ninja Creamy, I had to hire Kathy. I'm like, Kathy Hester. When I got my Instant Pot, I had a friend of mine who was an attorney. Like I just am so challenged with.
The best
Maybe
stuff,
if
when you have
Yeah.
someone to actually show you,
Uh-huh.
you can learn so much faster.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I can't wait. Well, thank you guys, and look forward to seeing you next month. Happy Valentine's Day. Listen, maybe we'll wait to make that big announcement of this other thing we're doing together. That it's
Oh, yes, we'll wait.
yeah,
We
because
have
we're
a big,
just.
a big fun thing planned for you guys if you're interested.
I
So-
think it's going to be a great partnership. So Georgie, it says, how do you maintain the lids? Do you wash them?
You would just wash them. And realistically, like that's it. Here, I'll grab a little bowl and see so you can kind of see maybe the process. Where is that lid? We already put it away.
Oh.
Sauce and-
And I'm sorry, Gina, I missed your question because my chat sometimes disappears. Gina wants to know if you eat raw sweet potatoes or raw butternut squash.
We don't. I mean, there's been like a random here or there where we'll spiralize a sweet potato or a yam, but it's super rare. It's not something that we normally do just because I don't really enjoy the texture. I'll do it for like just to maybe test a recipe or whatever. We have made like pumpkin raw soups. So we do sometimes squashes that way, but I don't even know when the last time I had a butternut squash. Like 9 years ago.
Neither do I.
Yeah,
But
but
you can spiralize the butternut squash and make noodles out of it that way.
Just don't get how you don't miss starch. I don't get it.
Look at
Oh,
AJ. I know starches are amazing.
they are.
Check this
I
out.
just
Look at
don't,
this.
because even John Kohler will eat a little sweet potato now and then.
Sure.
Yeah, he does now too, but I don't know. I'm just not, I don't, we just prefer the salads. It's just a preference.
I personally, when I went on that long distance backpacking trip with my son on the Colorado Trail, I brought those instant potatoes and it was just pure dehydrated potatoes, nothing else, but they'd already been cooked. I really enjoyed that potato mixture. I really, really enjoyed it. So, I mean, for those who are tuning in, I mean, there's nothing really wrong with
No,
having.
that's another thing too, that people are like really dogmatic.
There's nothing
and-
wrong with having some starch, some steamed.
or boiled.
Steamed is going to be the better way to go, then boiled, and then of
Sure.
course.
Then the way I do it, air fried and stuff. But anyway, you guys are so cool. Anyway,
So check this out. Look at the lid is dirty, right? So let's just pretend this is the sink. Just, wash it around in your sink, right? Or, spray the water on it how you would. Take your soapy rag, wipe it down, dry it. That's it. It's done. It's clean, right? You can dry it off. And that's all you do. It's a reusable lid over and over and over again.
all right, guys, thank you so much. This was another wonderful show.
Thanks so much, AJ. We love you.
Love you too. And we'll see you. Well, I'll see you sooner, but I'll see you for the show next month. And we're going to talk all about this fabulous machine. And guys, I'm going to try to get the inventor or the owner on to like help us too, because it sounds like amazing. All right. Take care, everyone. Please come back at 2 p.m. when my show is with Dave Toe. I met him at Rancho La Puerta. He has Watsu therapy evidence that shows how this helps people with trauma and PTSD, and he helps veterans. And it's the really coolest thing ever. So